We are asking the question, is data center real estate in a bubble? Before I jump in on that, if you have not yet, visit our website, selectfincap.com, get on our free newsletter for real estate news, as well as a look at exclusive commercial investment opportunities. But turning back to the news or the question, is data center real estate the high flyer? Is it in a bubble? And that's a question. Some pros are saying no, it's got a lot longer of a ways to go. But some other folks are saying, hey, this is flowing too high, too fast. And we've actually recently seen Microsoft pull back on some leases, Meta pull back on some leases. And some people are looking at that as possibly maybe signaling a top amidst all this AI frenzy, as well as kind of pointing to the Chinese DeepSeek announcement as having some folks question whether we're going to actually need all the space everybody thinks. Some of you guys' thoughts is our data centers a bubble here?
Well, maybe not if AI actually does what it plans to do and takes over the world, and they may need a prison for all the humans. So maybe those data centers will be a good place for them.
I
So
was thinking the same. I was literally, your brain is too smart, Jeff.
Yeah, so
like
you guys are going full blown Matrix here. There'll
I'm
just be
Matrix.
I,
No, I'm going
Terminator.
Terminator.
Yeah,
Jeff, did you just say Terminator?
I did. So
Yeah, we're heading towards Terminator land.
yeah.
yeah. So I mean,
And
just
look,
to
I think I mean back to the original question. Is there a smarter way to do data centers? Or is there probably a more efficient way? Sure. But I think the reality of it is until such time that people can really figure out how to make AI do better on its own, we need big data centers that can withstand storms and the apocalypse at this point. So we have them, and we seem to think that we need all the data that we can possibly store and need it for eternity. So at this point, I don't know that we're headed towards too much data centers, but you know, I, I,
We
I could
definitely
be
don't need a.
wrong.
We definitely don't need a Skynet.
Mm.
well, just to kind of backtrack here, I think the question is nobody really knows the answer, but I understand where it's coming from with the DeepSeek announcement. Because what China seemed to announce was, and I'm sure my percentages are off a little bit here, but say a system that costs half as much and can get you 80 or 90% of the way. And that was what DeepSeek was really about, was the Chinese saying, hey, we can deliver most of the benefits of these leading edge large language models, and we can do it at a lower cost. Hence, maybe you don't need as many leading edge chips. Maybe you aren't going to need as much in the way of data centers. Maybe not everybody in the future is going to need a Ferrari and a Porsche, but most of the market's going to be Hondas. It's probably a bad metaphor, but that's one of the things, and I don't think it's a bad question to ponder or to ask, is, are we going to see more of a mid-tier emerge that just isn't so center um, needing, and I think the answer is we just don't know.
Well, I would actually probably pose it differently. I think the comment is actually wrong. Not your comment, but they're wrong. 80 to 90% and being able to provide 80 to 90% of what the large language model needs is not really what a data center is about. A data center is about controlling and maintaining those. And I don't mean controlling from the side, but it's about controlling the flow of that, of what's there. So you need backups to the backups. You need a system that can withstand storms. You need a system that never loses power, right? I don't think that every data center is going to be needed, but I think for the immediate future, more data centers needed, and some of those will fall out. But I think where efficiencies will come in will come through the development of data centers and the management of the actual the utilities. Whether or not how it's cooled, how it's actually the electricity that's used to power the system, et cetera. How the backup to the backup works. We did something with Phoenix that on another video that was about them, the semiconductors and everything else. I mean, I think there's always going to be efficiencies that come with it, and I think the way that everybody's looking at it is probably wrong. But people like to jump in when things seem like they're going to go a specific direction. That's why there's been big investment in data center.
Yeah, I would say another interesting issue here too, though, is when you take a look at, say, private equity, like Blackstone, that's throwing billions of dollars in this. Um, there is a question about the exit. You know,
Well, maybe they don't want to exit.
well, I mean, the private equity, it's part of the business model. They're gonna they're gonna have to exit at some point and try to make their money. Um, and I think the question is, there's not going to be necessarily a lot of people to exit to. And, you know, that's the problem we don't deal with where we're in the commercial real estate market. We're dealing with we're not dealing with multi-billion dollar deals. We have plenty of potential buyers. But I do think it's a legitimate question for these, you know, a group like Blackstone is when you're ready to get out, are you actually, can you actually be assured there's going to be players with that kind of capital to buy into a market that you now want to exit?
It depends because I think in reality, you know, and this may be polarizing for some people too. The idea that you know, Elon Musk created a car company that was going to somehow change the world, be the greatest car company in the world, is not what I think he really intended. He created a essentially
And AI,
a company.
he created an AI company. That's what he
Well,
did.
he did that, but he also created a company that collects data,
Yeah.
right? And I think people are looking at Blackstone from the side of, did Blackstone buy this just to have a data center, invest in a data center, or did they, or do you have to look at it from the side of, did Blackstone invest in this to have a data center that collects an infinite amount of data that
Yeah.
they can then sell to an infinite amount of sources?
I read something today about Elon Musk and well, Tesla in general, and it was something like, so they have, it's either 8 or 12 cameras on every car, something like that, and they're inside and out. What they're doing is reading everything you do, how you make a turn, what music you play, what, just everything, and it's just to get data.
Right. And I think that's kind of what I meant before, and we were joking about Skynet, but that's essentially what it does. The large language model isn't just about language; it's about how people do things. And
Yeah.
for you know, for the immediate future, you need to be able to store an infinite amount of data that you don't even know at this point
Yep.
if it can be stored on something else.
Yep. And you can make money off that data. So
You
Yeah,
do.
I would just say for people playing this trend, I would I would size it right. I wouldn't bet the house because
Yeah.
I do think there are questions about the exit strategy. I do think there's questions in terms of, you know, how leading edge is it going to be and how intensive is it going to be? I think that, you know, DeepSeek, I think, is a legitimate question on that. And then I would also say you do have the potential of being constrained by power consumption.
yeah,
These need a lot of power. And I think there are legitimate questions about whether the U.S. grid is going to be able to keep up with the need to keep building this construction. So obviously this area has strong momentum. Obviously it's doing very well. Obviously there's a very strong case for why it's going to continue to do well. I would just say don't bet the house because there are counter arguments and they have some legitimacy to them. So I would say, hey, there's space for what we're doing too in multifamily, maybe in retail, maybe in office. If you're in real estate, don't all put it all the don't go all black on you know on one thing labeled data centers. I would say spread it around would be my
pretty
advice.
certain we're not hoping for a Terminator apocalypse.
That too.
Pretty certain.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think we're getting wrong or getting right in the data center space. Visit the website selectfincap.com. Get on our free newsletter with select commercial real estate investment opportunities. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks a lot, guys.